O'Neill, you're on the phone, and
yes, I am.
thank you. And do we have an apology or a
Leave of absence, Councillor Taylor.
okay, leave of absence? We have a second, Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Okay, well, we're moving on to C1, road tech offer. We've got a different one.
Front page,
Yeah, but, oh, this one up here. Yeah, right, gotcha. Thank you. 3.1, development application for material change of use extractive industry.
Mr Mayor, clarify.
Yeah.
It's item 5.1 of the agenda.
It's just meant to be number 1.
Okay, number 1.
We've done the bulk and we've done the quantities. We're up to the one next development application for material change of use.
Front.
We'll fix that.
What are we going to call it? 3.1?
It's something one, I think. Yeah, so 0.1. But it's 5.1 on that page.
That's what I'm getting at.
Can we perhaps make a suggestion that we just refer to the description? The item number is probably a little bit less important.
It would be item 3.5, 3.1, sorry, when it's finalised.
Development application for material change of use extractive industry, file reference 2020/20072.
Just the actual report or something. So it's saying cancel the physical report, actually give a copy of the report.
Yeah, all of them got to be instructions.
Yeah, it's called follow you from the other day.
Yes,
I've got a copy that just goes over
Well, while we're talking about this one, Chris, can we ask what the main differences?
Yeah, so it's just there's an error in condition 17, which incorrectly referenced the Resource and Mining Act.
Yes.
So we've moved that text into the general advice.
Yes.
We just amended that condition, so it's, I guess it's not read correctly. There was also some text left over in condition
18D.
18D, yeah, which was just a duplicate of text that appeared earlier in the condition. So I've just tidied that up.
Yep. Right. And anything else there?
No, so in essence, the whole development approval as discussed remains the same, which is something that is administrative.
Okay.
Chris, can I just double check something? The first paragraph. There was one paragraph that was duplicated. Danielle mentioned that the other one wasn't duplicated, but he still suggested we take that out.
Yes.
Can you just talk to that?
The issue arises because when people enter into contracts to supply material, it's generally done over an extended period, so there's huge costs involved, and so if council's given the opportunity to shut them down after 7 days, it could cause us great complications. So if we agree to a project, then I guess we should be pretty confident that we know what the impact's going to be and commit to seeing that project through, as opposed to having that clause in there to say that after actually getting in place whatever we shut down after 7 days.
So is that standard planning, is it?
Yeah, so if someone makes a request to council and says, we've got a big project coming up, this is the likely transport route we'll use, these are the likely hours that we'll operate, we can then assess to see if the impact's going to be severe, and if we make the determination that they're not, then we should see that project through, as opposed to having a provision in there that we can just rescind that at any time, because it's the expense that the operator could potentially incur with contracts and things like that.
So this way you manage the risk by getting ahead of it.
Yeah.
Before you give it through.
Yes, so they'll write to us, they'll tell us what it's about, we'll assess it, council will make a decision and say, yes, this project seems reasonable, whatever provisions it wants to put around it, with the, I guess, assurance given to the operator that they can then see that project through. Implications that it's going to be shut down at any time by council.
It in some ways does address Councillor McMullen's point from the last meeting that there might, making sure there's not unintended consequences for a project.
Hopefully I'll explain that okay. If you've got a question, then we'll go for it.
On the hours,
Well, so essentially, if someone wants to work outside those hours, they'll write to council and say, we've got a big project coming up for whatever reason. This is the duration of the project.
But how do we address it with our own quarry?
Sorry?
How do we address it with our own quarry very close to it? Do we shut our quarry down to the same hours, or are we going to have?
Oh, so that's a separate issue. So,
Yeah, probably has a bit different where, like you've got one coming up later on about contract crushing. We don't actually have crushing there, we have a contract crushing.
Yeah.
Might go there once every 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, and I'll be there for maybe 2 weeks every 2 years. So it's probably, we don't have an on-site crushing plant like that 1 week. Our fit we get a contract crusher in, it's probably every 18 months to 2 years, and then they might be there in a fortnight doing the crushing. So in terms of ours, we don't have it on-site resources. And the other one was there, it was only approved for 12 months, I think that one had since shut down. There's no one close by to that's shut down. So, yeah, we don't have a crusher on site.
No, but should we put someone
I
in
guess
there?
the matter on the table though is this particular development.
Yes.
So just, yes, maybe it's the next maybe when we go to contract crushing, because again, nowhere near as often as this one, it is literally 18 months to 2 years we have them on site for 2 weeks. We just say for that 2 weeks every 2 years at this stage of the hours. So. But, if this development actually had a contract had to meet, we would give them these hours anyway. So we're not doing it in hours every day, we're doing it 2 weeks every 2 years. So I don't think there's going to be too much of an issue.
So basically, by taking out that second condition, we can still manage the impact on the residents by giving the approval and then
Yes, that's right.
working out.
So if council has any concerns about a project outside of these hours, they can say no. Or if they don't have concerns because the operator's told, giving you enough information to give you an indication there's not going to be major impacts, then you can say yes. But just by taking that 7 days notice out, I guess there's nothing to prevent you from putting up similar provisions restricting noise or any of those impacts as part of the agreement with you to operate outside of those hours. By taking that 7 days out, it just gives the operator a bit more confidence that he can fulfill a contract. It's a bit, when we did this in the past, contractors were a little bit concerned because they thought the council could shut them down at any time with little or no justification because of the way that condition is written. It sort of sounds like, well, if someone rings up and complains, we're going to shut you down. But if we give all the information up front, like I said, then the council can make that decision at that point. So that this is the viable project.
Right. Any other questions, councillors? Okay, does anyone wish to move on this one?
Just talking to the L. Well,
Like if we,
let's take it from there.
okay, so what do we have to read if someone's going to move this? I'm happy to move on.
Is it the proposed amended resolutions at the?
It's in open, isn't it, this one?
Yes.
Everything can be listed.
So I'll move that, so the subject heading is Development Application for Material Change of Use Extractive Industry, file reference 2020/20072. And I'd like to move a proposed amended resolution that the applicant for a material change of use for an extractive industry 5,000 tonnes to 100,000 tonnes quarry on land situated on Sunnyside Road, Wallabilla North and properly described as Lot 355 on WB 290, be approved subject to the listed development conditions and general advice. Noting the amendments for clause 18 as read during the meeting and now incorporated below.
That was as read during the last meeting and now updated below.
Okay, so now the amendments, noting the amendments for clause 18 as read in during the last meeting and now incorporated below. So we just.
And it's not just clause 18 that's changed.
12.
No, the amendments to. Can I make a suggestion noting the amendments? Now incorporated below.
Are we going to say incorporated in red?
No, we'll just say no. We're really just re-adopting.
Right. So it's on open so everyone can see it.
Noting the amendments now incorporated below.
Page numbers for the amendments or not?
I know,
Keep it all as one.
all is one.
So, through you, Mr Mayor, I think Calcio is saying, are you taking out clause 18 on the last line of the amendment?
Yeah,
Yeah,
in the
just
brackets,
down below, Cal, on the last line of the amendment,
just put
take out.
in the
clause
brackets at the
Keep
bottom.
going.
Issues, yes, so
So just above development conditions, there's a bit in bracket, sorry, where it's got noting the amendments for clause 18 as read, go
Next
down.
paragraph down, Cal.
Above the word heading
Yeah.
development conditions. Yeah, so where it says noting the amendments, now incorporated below. No. Sorry, Cal, just before that, there's a bit in brackets.
Probably deleted it.
this bit here.
Yes.
Do you want that to be representative of
Or
what Mayor's
you-
read out?
Yeah, you can just take the words for clause 18 as read during the meeting and Cal,
Don't get rid of all of that.
Do we need the word now, Julie? It's incorporated below, just seems a little bit funny.
sorry, good point, councillor Hinkle, thanks.
Get rid of that.
Knowing the amendments called incorporated below.
Okay, Councillor O'Neill, can you see it on your screen?
Yes, I can.
Righto.
Director Rob, you okay?
Right, everyone understands what we're, what I've moved. Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Edwards, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to debate. All those in favour?
Yes.
All those against? 7-1 if I can call for division.
Who was against?
Councillor McMullen.
Thank you.
Okay, we have someone to,
In accordance with the provisions of section 275 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, a local government may resolve to close a meeting for the public to discuss confidential items. That is, the councillors or members consider it necessary to close the meeting. I believe we're going to close.
okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen.
Just to confirm that the reasons are listed against each item.
Good without that. Is that it?
Okay, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Okay, moving on to
Page 14.
page 14. C1, Road Tech offer of extension and variation of RTD SW 10357. Thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that council one note the information provided with regards to extension of the standing offer arrangement deed of agreement RTD SW 10357. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to sign the deed of variation.
We have a seconder. Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. C2, budget amendments. Do we have a mover? Councillor Edwards.
I'll move that council 1 approve the identified reallocation of funds for item 4, flood mitigation matter. 2, in lieu of reallocation of funds from existing projects, that updated documents be prepared on the basis of council potentially borrowing the required matching funding for items 1, 2 and 3, less $219,500, being the Big Red Tourist Train Bridge refurbishment project, which is not required to be undertaken in 2020-21.
We have a seconder, Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Okay, C3. Request for quote aggregate crushing campaign Roma Quarry. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that council engage Tat Crush Proprietary Limited to crush a provisional quantity of 50,000 tonnes for the quoted value of $1,008,878.75 exclusive GST, with GST of $100,887.88 for a total value of $1,109,766.63.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Edwards. Councillor Lappel, I should say. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to the motion or against the motion? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Is there any further business, councillors? I'll close the special meeting at 5:16 PM, and thank you for your attendance.